Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm super excited for today's amazing sister that is joining us in the Rise of the Feminine podcast. So, her name is Donna Wallace. She's an energy and emotional healer. She's the founder of the House of Orion, too. So, welcome, sister.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm so excited that you're here. So, like, her and I actually connected, I think it was maybe like a month ago or something. And
Mm.
it was such a like beautiful connection of like, hey, I know you.
Yep. Hello, old
Yeah.
friend.
Yes, it's so good. Even my puppy agrees. He's like, yep, I know. I know. So, just like every single podcast episode, let's just connect a little bit deeper with our breath and this energy that we're co-creating, right? And so, for those of you that are new, welcome. So, we'll just breathe together and remember this is a transmission. So, you are here listening to this, whether you're watching the video or listening, because something called you here. Okay. So open up your heart to receive whatever it is that you're meant to receive, and also enjoy this beautiful conversation with this amazing sister. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels safe for you. If not, just gaze at one point in front of you. Okay. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, letting it go. Let's do it one more time. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth, letting it go. And just going back to normal breathing and allowing yourself to soften a little bit more. So relaxing the shoulders. If you need to move around, do so. Relaxing the navel, the diaphragm, also softening the yoni, relaxing the throat, and just beginning to tap into your inner world and softening as well with the ears of the heart so you can hear what you're meant to hear, whether it's a word or space in between the words. What is calling to you today in this transmission? Soireta que sarenina namakai que saresitasa. Knowing that everything about you is welcome and celebrated. Soireta que saina namakai que sitasa. Knowing that you do make a difference in this planet. Soireta eku suite pakane namakai que sitasa. Knowing that you and Donna and I are co-creating this beautiful space together. Soireta eku suite pakane kai que si. And take a deep inhale through the nose, hold the breath, and maybe setting up an intention. Maybe it's like, what would happen if I surrender a little bit more to what's I'm meant to hear, or whatever it is, right? And whenever you're ready, exhaling through the mouth. And just being here with yourself just for a little bit. Whenever you're ready, beginning to invite into movements in the body, maybe the neck, shoulders, the wrists, the ankles. Maybe you can find yourself stretching. And whenever you're ready, you can open up the eyes. Oh, I love that how it just brings us all together. Like, yes, we're here. Okay, sister. I would love for you to share with us what made you go into this journey. And I think I said this when we met up last time. Well, met up, soon met up. But I love hearing people's stories because it brings us into the reality that there's a really deep journey behind what the person is doing at this moment in time. And that can really help others, especially the listeners, right, to have this moment of like, wow, she went through that and I'm going through that, or I also went through that, right? So it's like this moment of really deep connection with one another. So could you share with us what happened?
Of course, I can share with you. When I grew up, when I was little, and I just had all of these big emotions, and I didn't know what to do with them, how to be with them, and I grew up with that experience of being too much.
Mm,
This kept going into my teenagehood, big emotions as I went through puberty and trying to figure out who I was and becoming overly independent, I would say, in some ways, not letting in the love and support from my parents. And found life really challenging as an emotional, sensitive bod, and kind of felt like I was just waiting. I felt like I was waiting to get out of that situation, like waiting for something. And I don't
Mm.
even know if I really knew what that was, except for it just on the inside was difficult for me. With so many emotions and so much sensitivity. And along the way, interestingly, my parents found, or my mum particularly, found herself in a personal development program when I was a teenager, which was really kind of mm, left a center for her, and I found my way there too. So like with her, I went along and I really loved it, and it was the beginning of opening up communication and understanding emotions to me, and that was really
Wow.
a powerful place to begin my journey at 15. Um,
Wow.
yeah, which was so incredible, really. I wonder sometimes, was she there for me, or was she there for her, or was she there for me? Do you know?
Yeah.
Um, and and it was really amazing because it set this foundation in my life for communication in a way that it was just a wonderful place to learn, actually. It was
Mm.
also a wonderful place to meet other like-minded souls on a personal development path. As it happened, there was a lady called Joan, who I've shared with you about Rukmani, but Joan was, so we were traveling into the city over an hour away from home for these programs. And Joan, as it happened, lived in the same suburb as us. And my mum had been catching the train sometimes into work, into the city with her in the mornings. And so they recognized each other at this place. And then so I got introduced to Joan, and that was a big change and turning point in my life because, well, for a number of reasons, but I remember being like really upset when I was about 16. I was breaking up with a boyfriend. I felt completely heartbroken.
Mm.
And Joan said to me, so I was crying and upset, and Joan said to me, just come over here, Donna. She took me over to the corner of a room, put a chair there, and placed her hands on my shoulders and gave me Reiki. And I had never even heard of Reiki, but with that
Mm.
warmth that came through her hands and the love that came through her hands, I just started to feel calmer instantly. And I didn't know what this was. All I knew was this felt amazing and I needed to know more. And there opened up really the beginning of my spiritual journey. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so Joan.
Oh, I have to. Oh my gosh, because it resonates so much with me with the first time that I had Reiki. And I don't know
Yeah.
if I shared that with you last time, but so one of my good friends from Las Vegas, she kept telling me about Reiki, right? And I was so into meditation and yoga asana at the moment that nothing else, I wasn't making space for anything else until I was releasing big time the like suicidal tendencies that I had. And one day I was just freaking out and I messaged her and I said, I don't care where you are in the city, I'll drive to you. And Vegas is pretty big, you know, I mean, considering, but there's bigger cities, but I was just, I don't care where you are, I'll just come to you. I just need a hug. And she's like, all right, just come over. So I went to her house and you know, my inner world was like shaking like crazy. I was having this massive like anxiety and all these things and I was telling her what was going on and crying. And she's like, okay, I need you to lay down. I'm gonna do Reiki on you. I was like, okay, you know, I'm like, I'm receptive of whatever it is that I need right now. And I
Yeah.
went from
I'll
like,
take anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. I went from feeling like this to like feeling like, and because she told me, you know, set up an intention and all these things. And I was like, what was that? And that's when like, told you, I've been telling you about Reiki. So yes, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So beautiful.
It's so beautiful, isn't it? It can,
Hmm.
you know, it can change our inner experience in the most non-intrusive, loving way. It's so incredibly powerful, especially with someone who's offering it with such a pure heart. and pure
Mm-hmm.
intention. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Oh.
Joan's partner Baldo is a was a Reiki master. They've both passed now. And he taught me Reiki, and I went to their house often and joined their weekly healing circle. And she
This
taught
was
me
a
about,
16?
yeah, like when I was 16, 17, into like,
Amazing.
so we did a few courses together up until I was like Reiki courses. We did Reiki level 1 and 2, and later did my master training with them. And Jonah's also a very enthusiastic Orasoma teacher. And so she taught me about the language of color and how to use color energetically. And that has played a huge part in my journey as well. I went on to do other sorts of training, psychic development training and holistic counseling and yoga teacher training, all sorts of things. But really it was that space with Joan and Baldo that fostered that sense of like safety,
Mm.
and here's a safe space that you can figure out all your feelings in, Donna, and here's a safe space where you can be intuitive and acknowledge what those intuitive feelings are and not be invalidated for that. In fact, opposite, encouraged to explore my intuition and to trust the messages and the visions that I was already getting. And it just opened up the doors so quickly. Reiki and Orasoma opened up those doors for me in terms of like, my clairvoyance was just like switched on, and I just was having all these visions and feelings. It was like this part of me that had always been there just finally found a safe space to live, and
Right.
with their help then live with inside me. And so um it was still like a difficult journey after that, to be honest. I experienced some sexual assault after that with
Mm.
a healer, and like it went through a court case and he ended up going to
Oh
jail,
my
all sorts
goodness.
of things. But it was through that color healing and counseling with Joan. And she was also an astrologer, so she could see my chart, like all these
Mm.
different things that were kind of unraveling. Like she could see how like this was a possibility in my life path, but also out of that, it was really that I was getting shaped into the form of a leader, of someone who was walking a path and showing other people the way forward. So even with that sexual assault, after I came to the police and talked about it, and we went through that whole court case, there were so many other victims that came forward after that.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it was sort of like this understanding of how to put myself back together again after going through all of that. And yeah, fascinating kind of story that feels like I'm almost talking about another lifetime now, you know?
Totally. I so resonate with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then I had my two children. I'd already met, oh, this is a funny story. When I was deciding whether I would go to the police about that situation or not, I went on a hike with my mum and my stepdad, and it was like quite a challenge, 4-day hike, and it was snowing, and it was a physical challenge. And I thought, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. I'm going to go through with this. After that hike, it was just perfectly, well, divinely timed, as we know.
Mm.
And I said to my angels, I said, you know what? If I have to go through this, like if this is my path and I have to go through all this shit, then you better bring me my soulmate by the end of the year. And this is in November, right? This happened in November. I did the hike in mid-November, and this is what I said to the angels. And I swear to God, that New Year's Eve, I kissed my soulmate, who is now my husband.
Oh, that's amazing. I love how
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
like, I am so angry about this. Like, if I have to go through this, you better bring me my soulmate. Like, this is a non-negotiable, spirit. And
Yes, non-negotiables. Thank you so much. Yes.
and lo and behold, so
Yeah.
we first got together on New Year's Eve, and then he proposed to me on New Year's Eve, and we got married on New Year's Eve as well. He says it's one less date he has to remember, which is funny, but also it's beautiful, like, the turning point of the year and all of
Totally.
that. So yeah, then I had my beautiful babies,
Mm.
have a son and Archie, who's my turquoise baby, and I have my daughter Violet, who's a violet baby. I could feel Violet all around my tummy when I was pregnant with her.
Mm.
She still is that. And when she was born, I had this feeling like I just knew she was asking me to be all that I possibly could be. I'd always wanted, since I learnt Reiki when I was a teenager, I'd always wanted to do Reiki and offer my healing work as my business. And I
Mm-hmm.
never sort of thought it was possible. I always did it as a hobby kind of side hustle thing. And just whenever people, wanted me or contacted me, I would do that for them in between working and life and kids. And when Violet was born, I remember I was breastfeeding her in her bedroom, and I just had this like, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. I got to give this a red hot crack and just see what happens. And I know that it was like our soul connection, her and I just calling each other to be all that we can be. It was that
Wow.
feeling of like, I have to do this. I have to be that role model for my kids, showing them that they can live their dreams, not
Mm.
just me telling them that they can do anything that they want to do. So
Wow.
yeah, I was totally sleep deprived, and I had then a bit later on had to go back to work part-time, and so I was busy, and then I was doing my healing work at night. But when I opened the doors to my business, it just thrived, and I was really busy. So I think it was less than a year, and I left my corporate job, and that was 9 years ago. I've just had my 9-year anniversary
Wow.
of my healing business.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. What a blessing is for your kids to witness all of that, you know? Because
What a yeah, yeah,
to really be like, hey, you can actually follow your dreams, you know? It might not be easy in the beginning, right? But it'll be super rewarding. And to see, their mothers thrive so much at what she does, right? So, wow, that's so beautiful.
mm, yeah. I'm
Mm.
really lucky. I'm really lucky that these these two beautiful souls chose me as their mum.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah, and so are they though. They're all of you are super blessed. Wow.
Yeah. Mm,
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And and you were saying you did Reiki when you were like 16 or 17. I mean, and sure, you went through all the things that you had to go through, right? But what a beautiful foundation you had at such an early age, right? And a lot of people don't really get that. Well, now things are changing, right? So I love to see younger people and even teenagers and really young adults, right? To like come into my circle, so practice yoga, whatever, or just like be curious, right? Like what else is out there for me?
yeah,
And the fact that you had that so many years ago, when you were a teenager and they had that foundation. It had all these teachers around you that could help you, and also with your astrology charts, right? I mean, wow, the fact that you had that guidance, it's like,
I
hey,
know.
this might happen, right? And it's okay. It's like, wow, it's like
I know.
spirit was with you the whole time. It's
The
like, yep.
whole time. Like I
Yeah.
think about the different people that I've met along the way, especially Joan and Balder, like my other like Hannah recently over the last sort of 5 years has been my healer and mentor. And like I just think about the people that have crossed my paths. It feels like they're heaven sent, you know, and that we've
Mm-hmm.
all agreed to do this
Oh yeah.
before we came in. And
Yes.
I'm so glad my soul set that up for me. Thank you, soul. And thank you, universe, and thank you, everyone else's souls. It's like, us meeting again and feeling that connection with each other. It feels like this you know, how many times have we known each other before this preordained kind of prearranged, you know, agreement that we'll
Yes.
meet up again, you know, we'll meet up again in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and it's I love how that works, you know, like bringing back that connection with ourselves and others. For others, they're also doing the work and holding the grid of the earth and the grid for other realms, you know, that were there, right?
Yes,
It's so wonderful. And I'm so grateful that we reconnected. So grateful for
me
that.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So I know that like you have this amazing part of your business, you know, that you work with jewelry.
Yes.
So could you share about that? Because I was so fascinated with that when we were talking, and I know there's some people, I'm sure there's some people who resonate with that.
Yes. Well, shall I tell you the story about how it came in, and then you'll get
Yes.
a glimpse of that whole background
Yes, please.
context of it. I just thought that I'd found my lot in life, like healing was my jam, and I just always thought that I would be doing that, and maybe I will, like I'm still doing that, but I deliberately steered away from different products along the way, you know, doTERRA and different, you know, multi-level marketing things. And I deliberately steered away from that. We had we decided as our family to move from the suburbs, western suburbs of Melbourne, and move out down to the beach. And before we'd moved, we were selling the house and packing it up and doing all the things that we were doing. And I had this feeling inside of me that was like, I knew something wanted to come through. I knew something wanted to come through my business. It felt like I was kind of, you know, spiritually pregnant. You've had that feeling, right? Like, you know, there's something there that wants to
Yeah.
come through and you don't quite know what it is. And I thought, you know what? I've just got to get through this move. And, you know, we moved down to the beach and I put my TP up again. And that's where I am at the moment. And I said to Hannah, my mentor at the time, I said, okay, I can feel that something wants to come through. I'm ready. And so we connected with the soul of my business, and it started showing me visions and feelings. And at the beginning, I was, all right, I'll tell you like a fair bit of what came through if you'd like. Okay. I was in a jet plane and I was going, like, we were ascending, and it was this beautiful luxury jet. And I looked really different. Well, I was myself, but I looked different. I had shorter hair, like I've got long hair at the moment. I had shorter hair. I was wearing this beautiful, like elegant white, wide-legged suit, like pantsuit. And and which is a bit different from how I normally look. And I'd look down at my finger, and on my finger I saw this beautiful aquamarine, what I described as a cocktail ring, like a large colored aquamarine ring. And um and we were just going up, up, up. And then I was like kind of up in the sky, out in the stars, and I saw this hand out in the stars. It wasn't mine. I just, yeah. So I saw this hand, and in the stars, what I saw was this ring slide onto someone's ring finger. So it just like was like, I'm doing the visual on the camera, the ring sliding onto their ring finger, and this energy started rippling from that ring up through their body. And then all of a sudden, their light just went bing and turned on, like just like this, their aura switched right on. And I was like, whoa, what's this? And I'm looking at this like electric energy moving through this person's body out in the stars. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? Right. And also, well, sorry, I should go back a step. The one of the questions that Hannah asked me was like, what does your business want to sell? And before I could even think about anything, the word products came in. And I was so taken aback, I could barely speak the word. So flabbergasted because, as you know, I just thought I was always going to be doing like how to have a service-based business and just
Uh-huh.
always do my healing work. And so when she asked that question and the word products came through, I was like what? Okay, this is what I'm getting. I'm going with it. and then started having these visions one after another. I saw that there were pieces of jewelry getting made. So I'm still up in the stars, right? I'm looking down on the earth and I see these pieces of jewelry getting made and like shipping out to all different parts of the world. I'm like, okay, like this is pretty weird. And then I started to see that each of these pieces of jewelry were activating people's lights. So I already knew that through my healing business, my mission is to switch on people's lights. Like that's what I've done for a long time. It's what I know my mission is already. But then when I saw that the jewelry was like switching on people's lights, it's like you know when you're popping popcorn and the pop like from popcorn kernels, like proper popcorn, and you're doing it yourself. That's what I saw, like people's lights doing, like little like in cities, lights switching on like popcorn, like infecting each other. Do you know, like this beautiful explosions, little explosions in different cities. And so I see these pieces of jewelry activating people's lights and people's lights switching on all around them. And then I see energy, electrical energy grids like light forming lines between all of the pieces of jewelry all around the world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, what's going on? And then I zoom out and I start to see that it's forming this grid around Mother Earth. And I'm like, oh, okay. So this is a crystal grid. And like I'm just getting these downloads one after another. And I realize that this is to support the ascension of Mother Earth. The grid is to support the ascension of all of her inhabitants and her habitats, is the other thing that I get. I'm like, okay, so you want me to start a jewelry business that energetically activates people and is supporting the ascension of the planet. No mean feat. Okay, cool. Let's do that spirit. Like, and I was like, really? Like, have you chosen the right person? Because like I'm all about the energy, but I know nothing about jewelry. And that was the beginning. The beginning was me not sure if I could fulfill this huge, huge vision, and thinking, just like my healing business, why don't I give it a go? Like it worked last time when I opened up my healing business. Why don't I just give this a crack too and see what happens? And nothing gained, nothing lost. Nothing lost, nothing gained. Whatever that's saying. um, so I began, and now what that's turned into is these beautiful, bespoke, custom-made pieces of jewelry that are designed to activate your soul energy. So before we even get to choosing stones or looking at designs for your jewelry, I take you through a blossom session, which helps you connect really deeply with your soul and what it wants for you in your life and what it wants to express through you. And then my customers get a divine download of what the jewelry actually looks like, what color stone it is. And then I go and intuitively choose gemstones. I call them soulmate stones because it is like meeting your soulmate. It's like this recognition of another, like this aspect of you, an expression of you, like a part of you. These gemstones feel like a part of you. It's amazing. And then we design the jewelry, and you get the most aesthetically beautiful thing you've ever seen. And I have a jeweler here in Melbourne who hand makes them all. He's phenomenal. Like he's got over 30 years experience as a jeweler. And
Wow.
so they're made in platinum and white gold and yellow gold and rose gold, and they're designed to be heirloom pieces to pass down from generation to generation. And I energetically attune those gemstones to bring out that soul essence, to activate people's light, to switch on your light. And lo and behold, like that's what my customers experience, is they energetically are feeling like energy rippling up from their rings or from their pendants. They can feel it activating their light in their bodies, and I can see it switching on, with my clairvoyance. And
Mm.
Yeah, I've got this goal to create the world's largest crystal grid.
No big deal. No big
No big
deal.
deal, no biggie. Like, I don't know if we can even measure that, but why not? You've got to have a go at something.
Yeah. Wow. That's so, oh my goodness, I'm feeling like so much energy from all of it. That's amazing. And you know,
Mm.
you just you follow this, right? And I love that you're sharing this because it's almost like, you know, when you hear this and somebody's hearing that it's going through like a deep part of the journey, right? Like hearing this is like, okay, perhaps it's also they can give themselves permission, right, to trust something, even if it sounds so wild. Like you're like, are you sure you have the right person? You know, I don't really know. I don't
I
really
mean,
know much about jewelry. But
yeah,
then how it
exactly.
all just happened, right, for you and like that deep work, because this work is not just surely, right? We're humans, we're having a human experience, and it's also like we need money to survive and pay our bills and all these things, right? Like, but there's something so much bigger happening when we're doing this work, right? Like you're saying, right? This energy, this crystal grid that you're building throughout the world, and there's others around that are doing the same thing, and not with like jewelry like you're doing, right? But with something else, right? Or just sharing their love with somebody. And it doesn't have to be like this one physical thing, right? It's something that happens in the energetics that you're building this grid, we're co-creating this grid together as we are ascending ourselves in our inner world. And so then Mother Earth can feel that we're like super ready for bigger things in life, right? And I don't mean human things. I mean like to bring back, you know, or to reawaken this dream without us. You know, one of the dreams that we were talking about, you know, when we first reconnected was Atlantis, right? To really awaken that in us, right? And I know that we talked about that it's like some people see it as like ancestors, right? And sure, that can help somebody to actually get into the field, if you will, right? But in reality it's alive, right? And all these grids that we're putting around the earth and the work that we're doing is helping us to reawaken that grid within us, right? So that can be part of our lives. And I love so much that we're doing this together, you know, and then it's just amazing. It's really amazing. So I'm so grateful for the work that you do, you know, and for bringing this, given other brothers or sisters or whoever it is, right? Like this little piece of jewelry that is more than that, that is a being, right? It's alive. It's something that is alive, that is again, like you were saying, awakening their light and allowing them to be who they are, right? In a way, it's almost like their soul is giving themselves permission, like you can be you in however it is that you show up to be. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I love about it. I love the individuality. I love the being able to understand who people are on that unique soul level and then support that blossoming, you know, that process of individuation, of supporting that soul path, that individual soul path and individual soul expression is so different from person to person. And
Mhm.
I love that you're talking about Atlantis and the remembering and I wasn't particularly connected to Atlantis before the House of Orion came in, although I've always been a water baby. I am a Piscean, but I've always been a water baby. But when this vision for the business, the House of Orion business first dropped in, I was standing with my feet in rock pools, about 20 minutes drive from where I live. And I heard this. I saw, first of all, I saw 5 rings coming up out of the water. This was before we'd made any jewelry yet. And I was like, whoa, what's this? Like, why are they coming up out of the ocean? Like, this is beautiful and amazing. And I don't know what it means. And then I heard this very clear message, which was Atlantis is rising through you.
Mm.
And
The chills.
and I again thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing and beautiful, and I still don't know what that means. And then over I've really been discovering that and reconnecting with that part of myself that is the Atlantean part of myself, and I understand now that what we're doing is bringing back the power of gemstones or the power of crystals. You know, it's old wine, new bottles. They're coming back in jewelry in this in through my business, but it is really about gemstones being a light source, a power source, um and really, you know, how do I say, like a currency of vibration. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they've been around longer than us, right? So they
Yes.
have a lot of story, right? And so much of that vibration and wisdom, that is in our heritage, right? There's some that might be like maybe we're lost a little bit, right? But with that, with the reconnection of that energy, we can remember that within us. And it's just like it becomes a ripple effect, right? That you remember, and then the people around you, they feel your energy, start to remember, and then the people around them, right? So all of a sudden, like we're all remembering. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And wow, it's so precious, right? And I just want to say that we all have our journey, right? So it's perhaps for those of you that are listening, right? Perhaps like your journey will not be like super visual like Donna's, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not empowering and beautiful and powerful, right? We're all doing our work in the way that we're meant to do, in the way that we set up to do. And the more that we can tap in into our calling, right? And like how you are helping others, sister, to tap into their own light, into the divinity within them, and like the power of the heart, the more that you can feel that, right? You can feel what it is that it's like you resonate so deeply with that, right? For me, for example, is cacao, right? Like I just have this really deep connection with plant medicine, and it's like I know I've done this for eons and eons and eons,
Mhm.
right? And
Yes.
and so it's just like I know that's it. That's like one of the main things, right? And for somebody else could be singing, right? I mean, there's so many things that we can do that are like our thing, right? And nobody else can do it like you can do it, right? So for example, like your jewelry is like unlike any other jewelry out there because it doesn't have your energetics, right? You didn't, nobody else can birth that jewelry like you do, right?
Yeah.
This is like the same thing with like with me and cacao, right? There's so many people that do cacao ceremonies and make their own cacao, but that's great. That's the energy, and it's not my energy. So, but we're all building these beautiful grids of remembrance, right? Of the power that we hold and the power that has been around. Like, so the power of Atlantis and the wisdom there is around, right? It's been around, even when we believe that was just BS, pretty much, right? Until like all of us, or a couple of us, began to spread the word of the light, of all this, the codes and whatever, and then people were like, wow, I resonate with you. I don't know why, right? And it just starts
Yeah.
to spread out. And then you're building this grid, I'm building this grid, and it's a grid that is being co-created. And also with the ones that might not know that they're doing that, right? And so I just find it so beautiful that this is the power that we hold when we
Yeah.
begin to do something that is super aligned with us and it just flows like this, right? And so I really want to, like, for all of you that are listening, I really want to let you know that you are in the journey, right? And if you haven't found this one thing that just flows through you, like it flows through Donna with the jewelry, of me with plant medicine, like there's something there, right? So we all have to go through this journey of releasing the stock energy and the stories about not being worthy or whatever it is, right? So then you can feel that light in you, and it's like, okay, that's my thing, right? And
Yeah.
and and so through this, through hearing, your story, right, or my story, whatever, you can have that in your, like, okay, I can do it, right? I can
Mm.
do it, and it's going to be a beautiful journey, right? So thank you for sharing that. I'm so grateful, and I love when I really have to share this because when we were reconnecting, and all of a sudden you were talking about Atlantis, and I just had this big smile on my face. I'm like,
I know. I
yes.
was like, what's going on? okay, she's in Atlantis. She understands what I'm talking about. Every now and then I just drop Atlantis into conversations and I just wait to see what people's reactions are. And there you are with the biggest grin. I was like, yes, we can go there. We can talk about all this amazing
Yeah. Oh, I just got the chills again. It's like, yes, yes. And that is the power also of remembering, right? Other sisters, other brothers, right? And no matter what, because I'm in the States, right? You're in Australia. We're on the opposite side of the world, but we're still doing this, right? And we remember, we know, we've done this many times ago. Whether we actually remember or not, there's this thing in our souls, right? So whenever like we feel that, goodness, I invite you all to like lean into that because it might feel like, whoa, like that's kind of weird, right? But the more
Yeah,
that you lean into that, it's also part of your awakening, right? And part
yeah.
of remembering, part of you. I mean, it's just like, yes, I always go for it. I'm like, hey, sister.
That's right. And that's what I have happen with all the people that come to me for jewelry as well. Like they just know that they're meant to have one of these pieces of jewelry. And it is this just the knowing, you know it, you can feel it. You don't know why, but it's just it is, and you can't deny it. And I think that it's so important that we all follow that, whether it's coming to me and having a piece of a House of Orion jewelry, or if it's, going to your cacao and plant ceremonies or whatever, wherever that feeling of like, this feels familiar. This feels good in my body. This feels right. This makes, I don't know why it doesn't kind of, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any
Mm.
logical sense, but my heart knows, my soul knows. And that's the point of this journey, is to follow that. Yeah.
Yes, and absolutely. Like it did not make sense to me at the beginning, I will just know like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I don't know why I have to do this. And
Yeah.
every time it was like, wow, okay, I understand now why I had to do that.
I mean, hindsight's a beautiful thing once you follow it, right? We don't know
Yeah.
at the beginning. It doesn't make logical sense, but it only does in hindsight. Then you
Hmm.
can understand, oh gosh, my soul wanted me to experience this. This is so amazing. I'm so glad I followed my intuition. Like, I'm so glad I followed those divine downloads that I was given about this business, because I get to do the most beautiful, create the most beautiful things and see people's light switching on in the most gorgeous way. And then like getting to have conversations like this, my
Yeah.
heart just feels so full and open. And like I could talk about Atlantis for years, decades. That there is just so much magic to be had when you follow your intuition, because your soul takes you to the right place.
Totally,
Mm.
totally. And to the right people that
Yes, to the right
it's
people.
yeah, the ones that are also doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like I know when I gather with sisters, just to gather, right? Just to share what we are, who we are, and our gifts with nothing planned. I mean, so much magic happens. And this is also what's happening here, right? I mean, I feel it so deeply in my heart, and like that's why I keep getting chills in my crown. That there's a beautiful energy being transmitted, right? Being co-created. And this is why at the beginning of every podcast I said, like, this is a transmission.
Yeah.
You're feeling something, and it might not be, maybe this word Atlantis will be like for you, like, I don't know, but maybe it will be like, hey, yes, right? And if that's that yes, in any words, right? Like follow that, feel into that, because that is like to me, that's how it's helped me so much in my journey. It's like, wow, okay, I have a resonance here that is really, really deep. Let me just talk more to this person, right? Or let me just sit with this and see what happens. And I'm always super surprised, right? Of how it all unfolds and everything, right, baby? Yeah, he knows.
Mm,
Yeah, so
I love that.
yes.
Even
And
as we're talking, I'm having all sorts of different things coming in, like visions and rememberings, and yeah, the feeling, like you said, like you can feel it in your heart space, so can I. Yeah, it's beautiful when there is such true deep intention for that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just want to say like this one thing about Atlantis, right? Because I know I can talk about it too.
Go for it.
But also the connection, we have to talk about, Donna does these things like with, of course, her energy work, right? But the crystals, right? And crystals, like I said, had been here for like eons, right? And they've gone through their own evolution and then seen so much. They have so much wisdom in them, right? Because they're beings, they're alive, right? The same thing with plants, right? They're going through their evolution and see so much and they hold so much wisdom. And this is for me how the reconnection to Atlantis happened, right? With plants. And this is why I'm so honored to them and I have so much reverence. And surely not necessarily like plant medicine, like, ayahuasca or cacao, but even just herbs, right? And the connection for you could even happen with the ocean, right? So I really just want an invitation for anybody that is listening or watching the video, that if this really resonates and is something that for you it's like, hey, I can feel something there. Just tap into it a little bit, give yourself the permission be be curious of like what would happen, or could I open up myself to receive in however way will come to me, right? To have this remembrance of myself and then see what happens and what goes from that, right? We're just creating this tiny little opening for remembrance that it's you, right? It's you. It's reconnecting with a part of you that is never being lost, right? It's just for some reason we just shut it off, right? But now we have also the opportunity to open up to that and to say like, yes, I get to choose, right? So if you get to choose and that really resonates, it could be in your other way, or maybe in your own way, or maybe you really just want this amazing jewelry from Donna. And you're like, you reach out to her, like, who knows, right? So it's just like, I would like to just take a moment to feel into the energies of what is coming through, right? What is coming to for you, sister, for me, for anybody listening. So I invite you to close your eyes if that feels good for you at this moment and just breathe into the heart space, right? So if you can visualize your nostrils being in your heart space, and just breathe into that, just breathe into the energies that we've been co-creating in this conversation, and let those energies lead you where they want to take you. And we're just inhaling and exhaling through the heart and feeling, just being with our own bodies, our own beings, our own energies and the connections to different versions of ourselves. Mm. And also inviting these energies and this conversation that you're having, right, to be with you after this episode is done, to just lean into these energies and see what comes from there, right? With no expectation, just curiosity, just inviting, just like almost like you're just reconnected to this best friend of yours. It's like, yes, welcome, welcome. We can always have this conversation anytime, right? And open up that space to receive that within you so they can expand and take you where you're meant to be taken in life. Mm, beautiful. And also here, just inviting gratitude for you and this beautiful co-creation. Perhaps just begin to move a little bit in the body. And whenever you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Mm. Wow. Thank you so much. And I love that you, sister, just really opened up this conversation, with the beautiful work that you do and the beautiful way that you hold space for others and give your love, right? And do this bigger work, if you will, right? Your service to humanity, because that's what it is, right? And once you're not here in this planet, that will still be here, you know? And it will be this, like, as in human form, right? It will be like this remembrance of the work that you had been doing as a human, right? To hold space for the other ones to come, the other ones to remember. So it's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel the exact same way about you.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
There's one thing I'd really love to share before we end
Yes,
our call, if that's
please.
okay. And that is what I've learned about Atlantis is that some people think that it doesn't exist anymore, and that it was, if it was real, that it no longer exists, that the civilization was submerged or crumbled in some way. And I believe that it still exists. And I believe that just like we can travel on the timelines and we can travel into other realms and other dimensions. And there's this beautiful ancient civilization that is there that you can connect with now. And it holds so much healing and it holds so much power and it holds so much light. And it's something that, you might want to travel to the point of which where the civilization is crumbling. That might be your first place that you go to. It is for some people that I know, but then you can also go into the other places where it was a vibrant city that was, filled with this power and light and gemstones and
Mm,
oceanic energies and mermaids and healers and just incredible things there. And you can connect with any part of the power of Atlantis at any time. It's just about learning how to go there and connect with that, or letting yourself, like, let your imagination drift off for a while, like drift off in your imagination and let yourself go there and play.
mm, mm.
Sometimes I'm swimming in the ocean and the dolphins come nearby and, like, literally, physically. But also sometimes I swim in the ocean, I put my head under the water and I can hear things. I can hear, like, these voices calling me.
Mm.
There is this, you said before about gemstones, plants being alive, and that is so true. I hear every gemstone speak to me. They tell me some want to play, some want to be made into jewelry, others don't. Some want particular things to support particular things for people, and some are like got this exact perfect soul like mission, like our soul's mission too, and that's why we gel so well together. But they speak, and all we have to do is get quiet and learn how to listen again.
Yes, thank you. Like, learn how to listen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is how we are able to hear beyond like the human ears, and to really tap into these messages that are coming through, right? Um and I love what you share about Atlantis, for you it's still alive. It's the same, right? I believe that, and this has been my experience too, that I have so many selves in different versions of myself, and they look different, right? But we're really deeply connected. And to me, I connect through the heart space with them, right? I connect to that version of myself in Atlantis through my heart, my
Yeah.
Arcturian self, through my
Same,
heart space.
same. Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's, that's the power, right? And this is where it comes from. And this is also through my own healing and holding space for others, right? It's like there is the wisdom. And one of the messages I received yesterday, it was like, and it was through Mommy Cacao too, that she was like, some people get so into like, I want to open up the third eye in my womb and all these things, when the key is the heart. You open up your heart, you open up everything else, and you begin to remember, like yourselves, right? And you know that you can just connect with them at like at your own will through the heart space like this, right? And like
Yeah.
Donna's saying, like she hears, right? She hears and she's able to hear the crystals, right? And the stones, and she hears voices in the water, right? And it's because she's been doing this work and opening up for years, right? And it's the same, right? You give yourself permission to listen to your heart, to open up, to again go beyond the human experience, right? And I love that you mentioned imagination. Thank you so much, sister. Like, let your imagination unfold. And this is honestly like the best recommendation that my Reiki masters told me. They said, like, you know, like whatever you can imagine, it can happen. Let your imagination take you. And I was so, and that's how I expanded my energy practice, because my imagination goes, it takes me, you know. So I was like, yes. So if that's you, please, you know, this is an invitation that we're telling you, because that's how it's happened to us too, right? And if it
Yeah.
happens to us, it could happen to anybody, to any other humans, because we're so connected. We're so connected. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you,
That's why
thank you.
I say that our emotions are our gateway to our soul, because when we can feel what is there to be felt, we connect so deeply into our hearts. We access our soul through our emotions. And that's why I do like the healing work that I do, because some people are either disconnected or really overwhelmed by their emotions, and it's just too hard to go there. They want to access who they really are, and they want to access all these things that we're talking about, but that is the gateway, is through the heart. And
Mm,
so sometimes we need that emotional healing and heart healing to be able to go there and to experience who we are as these radiant souls.
yeah.
And it's so beautiful. That journey is so beautiful. It's like a whole new world, you know? That Disney song, A Whole New World. And that's what
Yeah.
it feels like. It just opens up and unlocks things. And we get to access so much more than this beautiful 3D world that we're in. It is amazing. And it's like then we lift the veil, don't we? And we just can feel and hear and see, and oh, the world of energy and color. Yes, please.
Yes, yes, yes. And of course, you know, like some emotions might not be very easy to tap into the beginning, you know, and that's okay, you know, but just keep up with it. Because,
Yeah.
oh, this is one of the things that one of my teachers said, like, keep up and you will be kept up. And to me, like, that super resonated, like, with the energies and my meditation practice and all of that, you know, like, you keep up with what you're doing for yourself, and eventually you will feel that life is just holding you. And then
I
you will
love
feel
that.
like, you know, they're all yourselves, right? It's beautiful. It's so, so beautiful.
Yeah, I
Mm.
really feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yes. It's such a my experience, like every day I'm just being held. And so it's like, thank you. Hmm. Ah, sister, is there anything else that you want to share with us, or some words of wisdom prior of like closing the space?
More an invitation. If anyone is curious about my jewelry, then I offer free energy readings. So they're 10-minute energy readings. I look at your aura and tell you what colors I can see and what they specifically mean for you. And then I try on, like energetically, try on different colored gemstones and find what will be the perfect match for your soul, like what would really activate your
Mm.
energy. And so I just would love to leave an invitation to book in for a free energy reading.
Yes, and all the links to actually get in touch with Donna will be down below, that you can just give a click and connect with her. And I super recommend it, you know, just to talk to this amazing woman.
Thank you so much. I've loved our
Mm.
conversation.
Yes, it was so, so good. So good. Maybe we can do an episode of Just Atlantis.
Okay. All right.
I will love that so much.
Yes, please.
Yeah. And really thank you so much for everybody that just tapped into the episode. You know, share it if you feel like this will really help somebody else, right? What we're doing here is from the heart and from love, right? Because we've been in our own journey for years, right? And we know what things worked for us, you know, and so if you resonate with the energies of Donna, please don't hesitate to reach out to her. Again, like the links will be down below. If there's anything that I can assist you with, the links will be down below too. And let's just continue to bring back the heart, right? And connect even deeper with yourself. So then again, the ripple effect can go even more further and further out for the rest of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gracias, gracias, gracias. Ulpaiki, and thank you, sister, for being here. What an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you guys next time. Ciao, peace.